you were supposed to voice, is it War in the now cancelled
Yeah.
Lionbound? Two questions. A, why did it get cancelled? Um, Actually, three. The first one is what was that series supposed to be about? Second, why did it get cancelled? And three, how do you feel knowing that you didn't get to do your role in the end?
Oh boy. So yeah, I was cast to play the role of War in Lionbound, which was going to be an animated series for YouTube. Uh, First question, remind me real quick.
Yeah. What? Yeah, I gave you two for that one.
Yeah.
What was Lionbound going to be? What was the show going to be all about?
Right. So it was about a cheetah cub who's taken in by a pride of lions, essentially. And there's some fantasy elements to it. There is aspect of gods and essentially the it's been a few years now that I can't quite remember every specific to it, but the main character was Lalu, who was the cheetah cub, and she would essentially end up on this journey where she would be able to have these sort of mystical powers and sort of take on whatever evil was going on. But there's an aspect of or themes of like discrimination and bullying because since she's a cheetah, some lions don't trust her and things to that effect. And my role as War was actually one of the antagonists. He was also a cheetah, but I think the specific cheetah I think he's called a king cheetah, which is a real type of cheetah in the wild. But he was also very similar to Lalu, where he was sort of orphaned and abandoned, taken in by a pride of lions. But due to his own selfish actions, he sort of falls in with an evil god and is manipulated. He ends up committing murder. He gets ousted from the pride, and then he goes and gets himself sort of corrupted, where he actually grows bat wings and everything. He looks very very fun, sort of corrupted cheetah. So that I was really looking forward to that role. It was going to be a ton of fun. The cast was amazing. Ultimately, why it got canceled is a bit of, and I don't want to comment too much on it because there was a lot controversy around why it got canceled, and the project fell apart for I don't want to say for good reason, but the whole controversy around it essentially happened with some bullying and other sort of social issues going on within the project Discord itself, essentially. And that's all public out there. I just don't want to get into it right now because it was a whole thing, but most of the actors, including myself, walked because of how management and the production was going and handling that situation.
Real bummer, because that's you're
Yeah.
describing it, and I was like, this sounds a bit. It is a very out there idea because I couldn't picture a major studio doing it. It's like, oh, we'll have this cheetah and the cub pride, and there's gods and stuff. Yeah, it does sound very indie.
Yeah. It was gonna tackle a lot of themes. There was some LGBTQ themes running through it, which were fantastic. War was just a fun antagonist to play. I tend to gravitate towards antagonists, and just the sort of upbringing for Lalu and to like sort of persevere through bullying and actually make friends and go that whole route. It was well done and well written. I got to work with a great animator for some of the screen tests that we did. And it's just a real shame that it happened the way it did and it all sort of fell apart. The studio itself ended up closing as a result of it and sort of splintered out for other projects.
That does sound like a terrible way to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just a poorly handled situation, and ultimately it was a situation that should have just never happened.